Hello and welcome to today's video on health and nutrition. My name is Andres Orjuela and I'm a chef whose passion is understanding the role food plays in our health. Today's topic is what is aerobic exercise and why is it so important for our health? First, let's understand aerobic exercise. There are two types of exercise: aerobic and anaerobic. Aerobic exercise uses oxygen and fat to produce energy. Aerobic exercise is a type of exercise that your body can do constantly for a long period of time. And developing a good aerobic system leads to long-term health benefits. Anaerobic exercise is a type of exercise that your body engages in a time of emergency, what they call fight or flight. So when you're doing extreme exercise, that's anaerobic. Your body uses sugar, blood sugar, to turn into energy. And since our blood sugar level is limited, then this type of exercise can only be done for short periods of time. To really understand exercise and different levels of intensity and how our body reacts to exercise, we need to understand the heart rate. We have to become familiar with our own heart rate and know its limits. This is going to be measured in BPM, beats per minute. So a heart rate that is 60 BPM beats 1 time every second, 60 times in a minute. First, we have to understand the upper levels of our heart rate. When we're born, all children have a maximum heart rate of 220 BPMs. As we age, this maximum decreases at a very steady pace. So you can calculate your maximum heart rate by taking 220 and subtracting your age. A person the age of 40 would have 180 as their maximum BPM. Now, the lower levels of our heart rates we call resting heart rate. And that is the rate that our heart is beating when we're at rest. The lowest is very, very healthy athletes who are highly trained. They can have a resting heart rate of 40 BPM, but very normal for an adult is somewhere between 60 and 100. Now, if you have higher than 100 BPM, this is an indication that your heart is working too hard on a regular basis, and this can lead to some serious health consequences. Now, the 4 levels of exercise intensity are low intensity aerobic exercise, medium intensity aerobic exercise, high intensity aerobic exercise, and then anaerobic exercise. Now, low aerobic exercise begins at our resting heartbeat. So just standing up and beginning to walk is going to naturally increase your heartbeat. And then it's going to go up to about 50% of your max heart rate. So if your max heart rate is 180, 50% of that would be 90. So your resting heartbeats, if you're a healthy adult, would go from 60 to 90. Medium intensity goes from about 50% of your max heart rate to 70% of your max heart rate. So that would be 90, and then 70% of 180 is 126. That would be your medium intensity aerobic exercise. And that can be, for a healthy individual, taking a brisk walk, possibly going up some stairs, some lighter jogging. That would take you to a medium intensity aerobic exercise. Now, high intensity aerobic exercise, it goes from 70% of your max heart rate, which is 126 for this individual that we're talking about, and then to the anaerobic limit. This anaerobic limit is your maximum heart rate minus your age. So for this individual who's 40, 180 minus 40 gives us that anaerobic limit. Once your heart starts beating faster than 140 beats per minute, your body starts engaging the anaerobic system and producing energy just from blood sugar. High intensity aerobic exercise goes from 70% max to this anaerobic limit. So in this case, 126 to 140. And then the anaerobic exercise area is the anaerobic limit to your max heart rate. So 140 to 180. Now, what are the symptoms of a poor or weak aerobic system? First, fatigue, lack of focus, recurring injuries or regular pain, excess fat storage, frequent hungers, sugar cravings, poor circulation, so your hands or feet are regularly cold, and or reduced immune system, which means that you can get sick easily, you get colds often. So why should we do aerobic exercise? Let's imagine for a second that somebody told you that there was a drug that you could take, a medication that you could take 3 times a week, which would have the following effects on your body. 1, you could effectively manage your weight. That means you would never have to struggle with your weight again. You wouldn't go up and down, you wouldn't be overweight, you could always maintain your ideal weight. This drug was also effective in managing all chronic diseases, for example, arthritis, diabetes, heart disease. This drug could slow, stop, or reverse the development of type 2 diabetes. This medication could reduce the risk of prostate, breast, or colon cancer by 60%. This medication could slow the decline of aging. This medication could reduce the risk of metabolic disease, the risk of stroke, the risk of cardiovascular disease. This medication could slow, stop, or reverse all cognitive disorders, dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. This medication could lower your cholesterol and your blood pressure. What if this medication could improve or return to you all of your normal body movement and functionality? Being able to crawl down in small spaces, to be able to stretch, to jump, to run, all kinds of activities that you did as you were a child. What if this medication could reduce clinical depression by 60%? What if somebody said that this medication would improve your sleep? That this medication would improve your digestion, that this medication could, if you have cancer, improve the effectiveness of chemotherapy. Not only that, but every single time you took this medication within a very short period, this medication would release endorphins in your body, making you happy. We would definitely call this medication the happy pill, or the miracle drug. Well, if there was such a medication and you had to take it 3 times a week for the rest of your life, would you take it? Well, this medicine is called aerobic exercise. And in order for it to be effective, it must be taken at least 3 times a week for the rest of your life. Now, I ask you, do kids practice aerobic exercise? Are kids taking this medication on a regular basis? We've all seen kids jumping around nonstop. Kids are practicing aerobic exercise all of the time, many, many hours a day. And that's one of the things that allows them, their bodies, to grow and to keep so healthy and clean. Now, did you take this medication as an infant, as a child, as a teenager? Maybe in your 20s, in your 30s? The question is, when did we stop taking this medication? And more importantly, now that we know the importance of this medication, and that this medication exists, and that it has such a tremendous effect on our health, we need to begin to reintroduce it into our life and take it on a regular basis for the rest of our life. I would say this medication is more important than brushing your teeth. Brushing your teeth has one major benefit: keeping your mouth and your teeth healthy. Whereas this other medication, which only takes 15 minutes 3 times a week, has huge benefits. So when we talk about medications, we always ask, well, how much should we take? This is where you get to decide. And I always say, start low and then increase slowly. I use an acronym, FIT, to talk about how much of this medicine you should take. F for frequency, I for intensity, and T for time, fit. I would recommend everybody to start frequency 3 times a week, intensity, medium aerobic exercise, and time 15 minutes these 3 times. So that's a total of 45 minutes a week invested in improving your health in so many ways. Of course, what's recommended for a healthy adult is to practice it 5 times a week, do medium to high intensity aerobic exercise, and to do it for 30 minutes each time. However, this change is slow. If we haven't been practicing aerobic exercise on a regular basis, how do we successfully make it work? Well, I have 5 tips that can help. First, find an exercise that you enjoy. It needs to be something that you don't dread doing, that you want to go out, that it gives you not only physical health, but intellectual stimulation. Number 2, you have to have other people to support you. Of course, it's easier to do exercise in a group. If you have a leader or if you're in the company of a really good friend or a spouse, it makes exercising easier. But even if you're exercising alone, just having the support of people, if your significant other can take care of the kids for those 15 minutes when you go out for a walk and spend some alone time, or if you have a friend who just knows that you have this long-term goal of starting to exercise on a regular basis and just calls you up every week to ask you how things are going, to give you encouragement, these things are very important. Number 3, it needs to be convenient. If you love swimming but the pool is an hour away, you're not going to do it. So it's important that you find a type of exercise that is very convenient. Number 4, create habits. If you're a morning person, exercising in the morning is much better. In the afternoon, you're going to come home, you're going to be tired, it's easy to find excuses. It's important to create routines that work for you. Or maybe during the week, you're just too busy, you can only squeeze in 1 exercise session, so you exercise more on the weekends. You do an exercise on Saturday and an exercise on Sunday. Whatever routines you create are very important to make this successful. Finally, motivational tools. They have all kinds of step trackers that can help you set goals, meet those goals, encourage you, see your improvement on a regular basis. I highly recommend these motivational tools. Every person is an athlete, and some of us have been taught otherwise. We're told, oh, you're not athletic, you're bad at sports, you can't exercise. None of that is true. We have to be convinced every single one of us is an athlete. We don't have to be professional athletes, we don't have to compete, but we should be athletic. We should be out exercising aerobic exercise on a regular basis for our good, to keep our health, to help our mind, to help our spirit. Low fitness is literally stealing our health. What is killing America? Some people say sugar, some people say the toxic environment, stress. I would say principally a lack of exercise. Now, aerobic exercise encourages healthy eating. You'll see that as you start to exercise, your cravings are going to go away. You're going to start wanting to eat healthier. At the same time, a healthy diet gives you energy to exercise. So these two go hand in hand. And that's why generally diets fail, because they're only focusing on one side. We really need to use these tools together, eating healthy but exercising regularly. In a later lecture, we're going to be looking at the 4 components of a complete exercise. We've talked today about aerobic exercise, otherwise known as cardio, but there's also strength, flexibility, and balance. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.